Hi, welcome to my financial markets recap for the week. It's John Bannon here from ComhlaTech.com. How are you all on this Friday? Before we get to the news, a quick update on the system. It's been a wild ride in the markets recently. We expected a pullback in sort of mid-September, heading down, and that's exactly what we got into around about October. So here we are. And only time will tell if this is actually the bottom. The bottom's in because there's some news we're going to talk about kicked it up again this week. We managed to get through most of the volatility pretty unscathed. In fact, we were making gains on the way down, but we got caught in last trades where one loss through this whole period. So disappointing to get a losing trade, but it's part of the game, right? In saying that, we're still well ahead of the markets this year, so nothing too bad, and I'm very bullish for this last quarter. I think we're going to see a big turnaround in the markets and possibly even a new high by year end. I'm pretty sure that will be the case. We're also in a new forecasted position right now. We'll see where that goes. We're into that for a few more days yet, and more on that next week. So that was the system update. What happened in the markets this week? Well, a few big pieces of news really came out, and the market opened this week on really doom and gloom, as the politicians are really bickering over this debt ceiling, and the Republicans are using it as a real bargaining chip to try and get what they want, and it's just the same old story with the politicians. Always leave it to the last minute, and then a deal is obviously done. Now this deal's a little bit different because they're kicking the can down the road by a couple of months. So it's only they've raised it by 480 billion, which only gets them to the beginning of December, I think December 3rd. That's when the US will be looking at defaulting on its debts again. So we'll probably expect a bit more volatility, a bit more shenanigans from the politicians towards the end of November. But until then, this is now a bit of a non-story, other than the fact that the debt is pretty crazy. I think I saw a stat with every tax dollar that comes in, $72 of it goes to debt. So I mean, at some point that's just going to get a little out of control, right? And it's already well out of control, unprecedented numbers. But here we are. It's a modern world. Who knows where that's going to go? So that was the big report. That was the big sort of news that really sort of had the market hanging by tenterhooks this week. Another big report was actually out today. That was the jobs report. Came out with 194,000 payroll jobs, and they were expecting 500. So well below expectations. Very disappointing number. By anyone's standards, the analysts got it way wrong here. They were like way off, and they're normally off, but this is like way off. However, on the positive side, the unemployment rate actually decreased, and it hasn't been at 4.8% since the first Trump administration in 2016. So that's looking late 2016 there. So and the August jobs report actually got revised higher by about 100,000. So it went to 366,000 from 235 that was reported last month. So that may happen again next month. Maybe it'll get revised about higher. Maybe it'll get revised to over 300,000, which won't seem as bad next month. Despite what happens in the report next month, sorry. So add that to the disappointment of that market. But then when you talk about disappointing jobs reports, the Fed's obviously watching this very closely. Therefore, it may slow down their objectives when it comes to tapering. So I think that in combination with the employment rate coming down and the estimate for last month getting revised up, had the market holding pretty well today, despite the fact that it was really bad news. And earlier this week, there was tech stocks were really getting hammered, and on top of that, just terrible timing. Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram all crashed and were down for a number of hours, and causing all sorts of speculation and worries for tech investors. Thankfully the system was restored, and it was said to be just down to some kind of malfunction in their systems. But it's not a hack, or so they say. We'll never know for sure, but that's what was put forward. But things seem to be sort of bouncing here. Where it goes from here, we're expecting a bit more upside, maybe a bit sideways for a few days, and then up to upsides. So we're still pretty bullish for next week. So we shall see how that goes. Even though when you look at the market, you think that should probably come down, but I just think that the bounce is in, and that's probably the lows for October. But we'll see. So lastly, I just want to finish with a fun fact. Captain Kirk, he'll boldly go where some may have gone before. William Shatner, at 90 years old, is going to become the oldest person in space next week. I think it's October 12th. He's going up with the blue Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rocket, so he will be finally in space for real, not just on the silver screen. So good for him, right? Fantastic news. So that's the news this week. That's it from me. It's the weekend. Time to down tools. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great weekend and take care. And happy Thanksgiving for everyone. Okay, in Canada. Bye bye.